Welcome back. You're still tuned in to your home of humanitarian journalism, Salam Media. The time is what, the quarter to 10, and I still tuned into news and views with myself, Salailo Makwidiri, and in a bit, we'll be speaking to Zaheer Rajah. He's a Islamic Relief South African National Volunteer Coordinator, and he'll be giving us insight on their Ubuntu Youth Camp, and what's all about, but most importantly, how you can get involved. Zaheer is joining us via virtual platform. Assalamu alaikum, Zaheer. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khair again to you and the Salam Media team for just allowing us to give our message. Yeah, alhamdulillah.
I think first and foremost, when I think of Ubuntu, I think of humanity. I think of, I am because you are. This is, an ancient African word meaning humanity to others. And it's one that it kind of encapsulates what South Africa is all about. The Ubuntu Youth Camp, does it share similar, sentiment to what the word Ubuntu means?
Yes, of course. I think, like you mentioned, Ubuntu, service to humanity. And the Ubuntu Youth Camp is designed specifically targeted at youth from 16 years older for them to come in firsthand experience what it means to be a service to humanity and seeing the impactful work of Islamic Relief on the ground in our own country. So when we look at Ubuntu, this is it's a youth camp which has been introduced by Islamic Relief. It's our first Ubuntu youth camp. Alhamdulillah, we're really looking forward to it, and it's been designed to empower youth to become leaders and to become change makers in their community. And how do they become change makers? Is when you actually go out and they're given a unique opportunity which focuses on empowerment, firstly self-empowerment, and then also understanding humanitarian efforts and the impact that Islamic Relief's work locally and then globally as well. So I think when the youth are given the opportunity, and when we look at the youth, we always say the youth are our future leaders, and alhamdulillah, they are our future leaders. And when they're coming on board, I think from the start, they've never set where they needed to do, for example, a motivational letter, and then setting for an interview, which is a process of getting into the Ubuntu camp. So just this little steps of developing them and upskilling them, is already allowing them to take what they already have and to apply it when it comes to this specific project of Islamic Relief.
And I want to focus, particularly on, the volunteers themselves who are interested in this camp, and what they can expect, during their time with Islamic Relief SA in the Ubuntu camp. In technical, literal terms, what is there to be done?
So I'm very, very excited for the Ubuntu Youth Camp. Like I said, it's our first youth camp. Alhamdulillah, it's a 4-day camp which will be happening in the heart of South Africa in Durban. We know Durban's got the most beautiful weather, alhamdulillah. And we're going to be, we will be there with the teams of volunteers. And again, I know we use the word volunteers, but the camp is open to all males, not only volunteers, but any participants who has a passion or wants to get involved and wants to be part of the Ubuntu Youth Camp can apply for it. So it's not open to volunteers, it's open to any male who's 16 years and older can apply for the Ubuntu Youth Camp, inshallah. So what can they expect on these 4 days? So alhamdulillah, we'll be spending time and hands-on with our right holders. Alhamdulillah, we'll understand the impact of our work. We'll be doing hamper packaging and then distributing the hampers to our right holders. We'll also be visiting our projects, so the volunteers or the participants will be visiting our projects so they can see firsthand, again, the impact that Islamic Relief has through our volunteers and through our donors, and keeping our mission, our vision, and our values in mind all the time of why there's amana, sincerity, compassion, social justice, excellence, and taking these values and applying it and being able to apply it over these 4 days. And then the volunteers will become change makers, they'll become leaders, they'll be able to go out into the communities and give the message of Islamic Relief, and they'll be able to become the voice for the voiceless and the voice for Islamic Relief also, and through their networks, inshallah. So yeah, like I mentioned, they can expect a lot during this camp, and they can also expect to make friends and build new brotherhoods, inshallah.
I mean, and you mentioned that males between the ages of 16 and above are eligible to apply. Is there any more to that criteria, and how can those that are interested apply?
So It's just males who are 16 and above. Like I said, it's open to any male participant who's interested. It's not only our volunteers. Alhamdulillah, once you apply, how to apply is to send a motivational letter. Motivational letter to Zaheer.Rajah at Islamic-relief.org.za. I'll repeat that. To apply, it will be Zaheer.Rajah at Islamic-relief.org.za. That will be the first step, to send a motivational letter. You will then be contacted for an interview. Inshallah, there will be an interview process where everything of the camp will be discussed, and then obviously the third step will be whether you have been chosen for this camp. If you haven't, your name will be pinned. So inshallah, like I mentioned, this is our first Ubuntu youth camp, and we're looking to do one or two every single year, inshallah. So step one, motivational letter. Step two, interview process. Step three, once you're chosen, the registration fee is 500 rand, and then your challenge is over 3 months of participants who are accepted will need to raise 30,000 rand, which will assist an orphan in whichever country they choose. So inshallah, that's over 3 months. With the help of our fundraisers, with the help of our teams, we will assist you to raise that 30,000 rand over 3 months, inshallah, which will which will sponsor an orphan, whichever country you choose.
But Zaheer, what if I want to apply, but interviews make me nervous, man? Any insight on, what goes into the interview? Are you going to be asking me difficult questions that I can't answer? Any insight on that?
I agree with you, because every time they say this Salam Media interview, I get nervous, no matter what. So I think the interview is going to be very basic, nothing to worry about. But like I mentioned earlier on, it's also upskilling you to get used to this process. That in the real world, alhamdulillah, there's a process for everything, and you're not going to get anything just like that. There's processes, and processes needs to be followed and abided by. And I think this is the first step to feeling empowered. That I'm going for an interview, and I'm going to be applying for something that it's yes, alhamdulillah. At the same time, where I mentioned you're going to make friends, you're going to build brotherhoods, but it's not a camp or a holiday camp. It's not a summer camp. It's a camp where you're going to go out and be interacting with our right holders. You're going to be interacting with communities that we look after, and communities that we support, and the people that we support in this community. So it's going to be, I think, heart moving, soul moving. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be emotional. But I think that when you come in for the interview, alhamdulillah, it's going to be very basic. We're not gonna throw you in the deep end. We're gonna ask basic questions, so we know that the participant understands why they're going to be going for this camp, and the participant needs to understand that our values, our mission, our rules and regulations always needs to be abided by, in our policies, obviously, because when we're going out, we are representing our Islamic Relief as a brand, and alhamdulillah, with that comes a lot. And we also know that we need to keep our Islamic principles, our own character. We'll also have like character development in the camp, which will be one of our slots also. So it's character building, and we need to just keep that in mind, inshallah.
The camp commences on the 18th and concludes on the 22nd of September. Once you get all of your participants and volunteers vetted and ready, this is the first inaugural one. What would you guys consider a success? Because this is the first one. There's no gauge benchmark set already. When all is said and done, you look at the participants. They walk out at whatever venue in Durban. What would you guys consider as a success? And as motivation to have the second, edition of the Ubuntu Youth Camp?
So alhamdulillah, like you mentioned, the camp will start on the 18th of September till the 22nd of September, inshallah. The camp is happening in Durban. A success. So we're looking for 16 volunteers or 16 participants nationally, inshallah. And I say volunteers because participants who are going to get involved are then volunteers for their time. So and not for the time, they become volunteers. They become ambassadors of Islamic Relief, alhamdulillah. So we're looking at 16 participants, 5 from Johannesburg, 5 from Johannesburg, 5 from Cape Town, and inshallah 5 to 6 from Durban. And so I'm looking forward to the Ubuntu camp, again happening from the 18th to the 22nd of September. The response, alhamdulillah, has been quite phenomenal, especially in Johannesburg and in Cape Town. Alhamdulillah, we're pleading to spread the message to your kids, to your grandkids, to to your family, to your friends, where they are youth. Alhamdulillah, to ask them to apply, whether they're in Durban, Johannesburg, Cape Town, or other areas nationally, inshallah. And yeah, registration closes on the 27th of July, inshallah, because we need to obviously then start prepping. So we are closing off registrations on the 27th of July, which gives us enough time to prep for obviously the accommodation, the flights, and whatever else comes with it, inshallah.
No, definitely, and I will definitely be spreading the message here on Salam Media. Just lastly, any projects that Islamic Relief is currently embarking on, and how can people get involved?
So Alhamdulillah, again, I think what's very, very important and close to all our heart is Gaza. We need to keep reminding ourselves of the murder, the killing, the crisis that's going on in Gaza. In fact, what's going on now is 100 times worse than when it escalated on the 7th of October. And Islamic Relief's ongoing projects there is, well, what we're currently doing, which was from the 7th of October, is hot meal. We are the largest hot meal distributor in Gaza at the moment, with 33 kitchens in the middle of Gaza in Zuwaida. We're feeding 140,000 people a day, alhamdulillah, all through the grace of Allah, thanks to our donors and our volunteers. And we cannot do this without the assistance of our community. So jazakallah khair. And we ask and we plead to the community, to our donors, to please keep supporting our ongoing efforts in Gaza, inshallah. We will be launching our hunger campaign also. It will be focused on hunger. I think hunger is also very, very important. It's something that we shouldn't forget. We look at Sudan. We also doing a lot of work there. We there's people are dying. Our brothers, sisters, and kids are dying of hunger, and we should keep all these countries in front of mind, and we need to assist as best as we can. Alhamdulillah.
I mean, we're going to leave it there. I will definitely be sharing all of the details of the camp. We had them right here on our screen, and I think it's going to be a really, really interesting one for young people, particularly, who should be taking on this baton of, doing humanitarian work, from the older generation to embark on this one. So, Zaheer, I think, really, really interesting Ubuntu Youth Camp, and a really cool initiative that I would urge all young people to be a part of. But we're going to leave it here for now. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure chatting to you, man.
Jazakallah khair. You too. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. There you go. Zaheer Rajah, National Volunteer Coordinator at Islamic Relief South Africa, giving us insight on the Islamic Relief Ubuntu Youth Camp. If you want more details on that, I think we just going to share his email address up on our screen again, and you can throw him an email if you want to be part of the Ubuntu Youth Camp. His email address is zaheer.rajah@islamicrelief-org.za. We've come to the end of our show. It's been a really, really insightful, educational one, and I'm sure it's going to be more of the same tomorrow on the Friday edition of News and Views with Uncle Inayat Wari, who's back on the airwaves. But from myself, Salailo Makwidiri, Nasrin Naidu, and Kolani, it's goodbye. Assalamu alaikum. Enjoy the rest of the week. See you again next week.